And Wednesday, March 4th, we get into actual Olympians-y stuff today. Again, Camp Tecumseh Money is doing 3 weeks. Permission slips, I'd say, have by next week if you're wanting to get into groups. 9-week assessment coming up on Monday. And theory tomorrow, Ebola Day. Quick Chanel.
Have I turned in my permission?
So with Zeus, where we left off with him, he was getting ready to do the overthrowing. What is he using to free brothers and sisters?
Potion.
Poison.
With the potion. He does not come up with the idea because he was not smart enough. Well,
His girlfriend.
Metis.
The mother of Athena.
Nice. So he shows up again a little bit with the story we get to with Athena. He does Pukey Potion, gives it to them, and that's when he does blot. How many babies does he throw up?
5.
Technically 6, but one of them was a rock. But Cronus was surprised and he throws up a rock. He's like, I remember eating a rock. He's like, I thought I just ate babies.
Babies are like rocks.
And they are. They're like rocks that fight back. And then we have the one there, and they grow up, and then we have the fighting, and they get to go against each other. Ooh. What are the two, for those of you who are still filling out front of blue side, that's why I keep trying to go back over these things over and over again to try and beat it into. Who are the two sides that form?
Cronus versus his children.
So I will take either answer. Either Zeus versus Cronus, or Titans versus Olympians. I'll take either one.
What about Cronus versus his children?
Wait, can we do Cronus versus his kids?
Sure. I guess you can do that one too. It's not the main ones I think of, but I mean, that's the right answer, so I'm not going to yell at you too much for that one. And then from there, the fighting. Ooh. But neither side can win because
Immortal.
we have the immortality thing going. So Zeus goes to get advice, and who does he talk to?
His mother Earth.
Mother Earth. And what does she tell him?
Grandma.
19
Or-
To free, you have to free the babies or
Free
whatever.
the babies. Who does he think she's referring
His
to?
sister, or his brothers and sisters.
But that's not who she's
Yeah, the
referring
king of the
to.
Olympians.
He's
The
referring
ugly
to-
kids under the pit.
There you go. But as soon as he finds out about this prophecy, whose special ability kicks in?
Prometheus.
There you go, you guys. That's when Prometheus can now tell that Cronus is no longer going to win. Zeus is going to win. So what does Prometheus do?
Switch sides.
That's when he's switching sides. Who does he bring with him?
Prometheus. His stupid brother.
Who does he try to bring with him?
Atlas.
Why does Atlas not come with
He's
him?
a general.
He has dignity.
That would work also. The fact that he has dignity and honor, he says, I can't just abandon my people. So Prometheus, Epimetheus join up with Zeus. Again, things don't change immediately, but after a while they have a conversation, and Prometheus figures out what the whole thing was being told to him and says, hey, I can help you out. She's not referring to your brothers and sisters. She's referring to all the monsters trapped in the pit of Tartarus. At this point, Zeus goes running down there, frees them. Also turns out they're still really ugly, which scares him. So because of that, what does he make them agree
Make them
to?
hide
They
behind
have
the
to go
mountain.
to the
Hide behind the
edge
mountain.
of the
Face the sun.
Who else does he find in there?
The Cyclops.
The Cyclops, the smart ones.
And the Cyclops are super excited to no longer be trapped in there. So when they get freed, they go, hey, let's reward you by making weapons. And then, forgot, quick time out from here. Up here to help you guys as far as like quizzes and tests and homeworky things, I put the posters in an order to try and make it easier. So you have Cronus, who's the guy who likes to swallow babies, and then the next 6 in a row from there are going to be the babies that he swallows, except for Zeus, who was a rock. But if you look at poster, Zeus is standing on a rock. So it kind of helps you out.
Who was
So,
Pan?
so you have Hades. Pan is not a god. I tried to put him somewhere, so I just put him off to the side. So Pan, Goat Man, he kind of shows up in stories later. I know where to put him, so he's just to the side. So you have Cronus. He swallows Hades, Poseidon, Zeus, Hera, Demeter, and Hestia. Zeus as a rock. The order is, don't worry about that part, because I've seen different stories that say Hera was swallowed first, some say Hades was swallowed first, so I don't worry about that. All of them agree the last one to be swallowed was Zeus. That's the same in all of them. That's the main thing I care about. Zeus is the last one being swallowed. And so if you ever forget the 6 ones, you need to write it down. You can look up there to figure out the 6 ones that were swallowed from that one.
That's ironic, because he's standing on a rock.
Not ironic. You say it's ironic?
No.
No, it's to help remind you that's why he's standing on rock, the fact that he was the baby rock.
Did you have
Or
the rock on there?
rock baby. I did not. I just got lucky that he's standing on a rock.
That's ironic.
Ironic?
Ironic. That's why
And so now we have them being free. Ooh, that was the thing I was going to get to. the Cyclops decide to make weapons for the people who did the fighting, but not everyone gets weapons. Only
The brothers.
flies. Yeah, that's gonna pop up in Greek mythology a lot. The whole sexism thing, like, hey, we're gonna make weapons for all of you, and I'm like, yeah, like, well, not all of you, just the males, all of you. The girls, you get to watch them. They're like, oh. And so again, Cyclops, sexist, just like all the other ones.
Well, because there's only male Cyclops, too.
That is also true. They're unfamiliar with this girl thing. They're like, you're like me, but you're a brain. I'm confused. And so then we bring into the weapons we get to go to from there. Zeus, what weapon does he get?
Bucket of lightning bolts.
And then like the lightning bolts are in
And
the
then from bucket of lightning,
Trident.
I showed you my really fancy picture.
Yes.
Yeah, the bucket with lightning bolts.
I was pretty excited on that one. Took me a long time to get there. And Poseidon,
Trident.
what does the trident look
He's my
like?
favorite.
It's
guy.
on three. It's a
Four,
really
five,
good
six.
What does it allow him to do?
Get water.
Move water.
Move water.
Move water.
Put out
and
fires.
Grill.
Bougie
Hey,
grill.
Israel's
Nice.
raising his hand. Let him answer that.
Put out fires.
And
Invisible.
Israel. Who's the third brother? Nicely done. Oh, wait. And what weapon does he get?
He doesn't get a weapon. He gets a helmet that turns him invisible.
I was trying to let Israel answer
Oh,
that.
I didn't know
Yes, sir.
Israel was doing. I'm
Yes, sir.
sorry.
We're playing. Israel, what weapon does he get?
Boys.
Nicely. Ooh. And I'll let you guys all tag in. Why does Hades not get like a
He
stabby?
doesn't like fighting.
And doesn't like fighting.
He's a
He
coward.
doesn't like
Nicely done. Coward sounds a little accurate. And so, yeah, that was a whole. He was like, ooh, if I went and punched them, they're going to punch back? Yeah, I'm not real fond of that. And so then I showed you up there, and then I showed you a picture of
You like
Hades wearing it
tabletop,
right
right?
here. I got a picture of him wearing it by their clap.
Where is? Oh yeah, I asked that yesterday.
It's a classic joke every time. And so with that one, again, Hades did go out into battles. He just didn't like the whole fighting, so the tabletopping, that might be a bit of a joke.
fun.
But he did go out and then like hang back, like maybe throw rocks at somebody. But he did not want to do a whole lot of fighting and angry things on this. So, this is where we were picking up. So at this point, things are now going well for Zeus. He still can't kill the other gods. They're still immortal,
They can make
but
them
things
change
change. Whereas before, it was run up and arm chop, leg chop, head chop, and people would then grow back. He now would walk up to this big army of all of these different gods. Luchelle, can you get my door for me? And he'd see Cronus and all of his friends, and they're like, what are you going to do, stab us? He's just like, no, I've got something better. Big ugly ones. They're like, he's like, do your thing. They're like, and would just stomp on them and then walk backwards, and all the gods would be sitting there twitching, and Zeus was like, hey, how'd that feel? And they're like, not good. He's like, do you want to switch to my side? And they're like, no, we still support. He's like, again, would step back. He's like, hey, who wants to come to my side now? They're like, me? And he's like, I thought so. If that didn't work, he would say, hey, let's go to the next level. Big ugly monsters would go pick up a mountain and go over to him and just go and then put mountain back. And he's like, hey, now who wants to come over? And they're like, I'm kind of flat. And he was like, winning. So this ends up getting a whole bunch of gods to switch over to his side. And things go well. Cronus abandons Mount Olympus and lets Zeus take over. A bunch of gods abandon Cronus' side and come over to Zeus' side. At this point, Zeus is pretty much declared the winner. I forgot. During this war, humans, they got kind of ignored during all the fighting because the gods kind of stopped caring about us. So during this whole war, when they're doing that stompy, crushy, Kirby walking in thing. Kirby?
I'm going home.
Oh, I miss you.
Homework.
Just watching the video we're recording literally right now. Hang on a second. Kirby, you're at home watching this right now. So we're going to say hi to you, Kirby.
Hi.
There you go, Kirby. So now you get to go watch the video we just said hi to you in.
Why didn't you say hi to me?
Because I didn't record it during his class. Sadness. So humans, during this whole big fight, when the gods were doing stompy, crushy, they killed off the entire race of humankind. Those first humans, dead. Completely gone.
Wait, I didn't see it. Go back. Oh,
Gone. Not nearly as exciting as you might think.
that was pretty funny.
Is this where you're going to convince me again about how good you guys are doing sitting next to each other?
I'm not laughing. You're doing a weird noise.
Yeah, hilarious. So now we have the fact that the entire first race of humans are gone. Ooh,
He's a
all of the Titans that fought against Zeus, except for 9, numbers are hard, 9 get tortured the same way. And he realizes he has a place to put them to get rid of them. And he takes every god who fought against him that he can catch and chucks them into the pit of Tartarus. It's like, this is where you're going to stay till the end of time. And they do. They are never freed. And throughout the end of Greek mythology, that's where they have to stay. Except for Cronus. Cronus does not go to Tartarus. He does not get a special punishment. He goes free. Not because Zeus has a great big heart and is full of love. He just escapes. He joins like the Greek Witness Protection Program or something, and it's just gone. And so the stories say that sometimes he shows up in Italy, sometimes in Turkey, sometimes in Russia. But for the most part in mythology, he's just gone and runs away. So Zeus is grumpy, but can't find him to be mean. End of the war, what did the monsters have to agree to?
Hide behind the mountain.
And they do. They go over to the edge, they hold it there into the agreement, they find a mountain, and it was thought that you could still go there, if you believe the world is flat, you would find them behind a mountain, just standing there. And they'd have like their little feet kicking over the little edge of it, they'd be humming a little song, like doing patty cake with each other, and they would just hanging out there doing their thing. And then you have the Cyclops, at the end of the war, they just go find a mountain, dig out the middle of it, and set up the inside of it as their new place. They continue making weapons for all the gods. It's just nowhere near as cool of a weapons as the other ones. So they... I'm going to get you in a moment, hang on. And then we have the other issues during this big war, the sky. In Greek mythology, it was believed the sky was a bowl. Not bowl, but bowl, and it was sitting on top of a mountain. Well, that was all good for a long time, but when you have gods smashing each other with other mountains and doing crushy thing, it loosened the sky up there, boom, and it started to shake back and forth, and Zeus realized that sky was getting ready to slide off and crush everybody, which became his worry that if this sky came off, it was going to crush all the gods that were there. So he comes up with a plan. He's like, well, I can't have the sky crushing people, and there's still a god left that I've not punished, who led everybody against me and is super duper strong and all Hulk-like. So I'm going to make him go on mountain and lift it. That god being? Atlas. So he goes and finds Atlas and pulls Atlas out of Tartarus and goes, Atlas, I'm going to free you from Tartarus so you don't have this horrible view, but the bad news is I have a different punishment. And he brings Atlas up to the top of the mountain, makes him lift up the sky and put it on his back. That way it won't fall, and he has to sit there and balance with it. But here's the problem with that. Imagine, if you will, evil English teacher man says, I'm going to give you a detention. And you're like, is it a lunch detention? I go, no. Your detention is, for a half hour, I'm going to lay on the ground, and you have to hold a 25-pound weight above my head without dropping it. What are you going to do?
Drop it.
I like how you guys think. You mean like, oh, Mr. That's so heavy. Oh, you got squishy. And so that's the same problem that Zeus has. He realizes that's not going to work because as soon as he walks away, Alice will be like, oh no, and just drop it. So Zeus goes back down to Tartarus and grabs all of Atlas's daughters. He had 7 of them. These girls called the Hesperides. He grabs the 7 daughters, brings them over to the mountain, and tells Atlas, here's what I'm going to do. As long as you hold up the sky, I will let your daughters go free, and they can visit you whenever you want. But if you drop the mountain, not only are you going to kill me...
Drop the sky, not the mountain.
Sorry, good call. Drop the sky. Mountain. Cut that part. If you drop the sky, not only are you going to kill me, you kill...
Your
daughters.
Your daughters. And so that keeps Atlas from crushing all of them. So now, if you see picture of Atlas when he is lifting things up, normally you would think he's lifting sky, but apparently that's hard to draw and looks weird. So instead, they show a picture of him holding up the globe. Once again, not that class. So instead, I made that part disappear. And so, whenever you see him holding the world on his back, he's not holding the world on his back. He's standing on top of world, holding sky. They just couldn't draw that. So then, on top of mountain, he rises up, holds sky on back. You just go over there.
Was this Play.
That's random person. Thank you, random person.
From fourth period.
Random person from fourth period.
Bye.
So now Atlas goes on top of the mountain and lifts up Sky. Juanita. Right. Pearls.
Yeah.
So, is this the War of the Great Heavens, or is this? Oh, so Zeus won this one. That's what it was called. I thought it was called the children versus
There's
that.
any number of different names you want to call it. One.
How would the monsters play patty cake if they have 100 hands?
Well, really exhaustingly. Just arms going all over the place. It was confusing. Juanita.
Okay, so in Hercules, when they released those.
Yeah, the Hercules cartoon. The one from Disney. Yeah, that one. That's real. It's creative, and a lot of what happens, like they call things titans, they call things, they're not just needed. If you're trying to connect logic there, it's not going to happen.
Way to roast him, Mr. Brovia.
Totally. He's so embarrassed. Like, no, it's imaginary. Yes.
The what happened to the other losing team? If that wouldn't that be the Tartarus part? And then are we gonna explain the mankind?
We already did.
They died.
That's when Peyton made me do it twice.
They died.
Yeah.
The mankind died. Okay.
This was around the time that Chanel was giggling because of the sound, and you guys all kept focusing on her as opposed to what was going on there. You can go back and watch the video and show you.
No, it's okay. We
Okay. So now the three brothers decide they're going to split the world into three separate kingdoms. Like, hey, let's all split the world equally. And the girl's like, yay, splitting it equally. The brothers go, oh, no, not you, us. And they're like, oh, yeah. And so each brother takes their own part of it. Zeus goes first. And what part does Zeus take?
America.
Not Olympus.
The sky.
Close. Does not exist yet.
The sky.
You're not thinking big enough. And a lot of people say sky or heavens.
Olympus.
Zeus goes, no. I want everything from the ground on up. He takes from the land all the way up into the sky. If it's on the ground, on a mountain, or in the sky, he gets control of it. That is all his. He's a little on that selfish side. He's like, it's all mine. And then Poseidon goes, I don't care. You can have that. Because Poseidon has his own area, which is
The sea. Water.
Land.
everything. Now, specifically oceans. But he is in control of water. He just doesn't really care about like ponds and streams. Like oceans is what he really cares about. And then Hades goes last.
Underworld.
Down there.
And he gets everything underneath the ground. And at first, it sounds like he got the worst part of the deal.
But
But
he likes it.
he does.
He had the
Exactly.
core.
Because for him, he's like, are there people down there? And they're like, no. And he's like, oh, I'll definitely take. So he loves the underground. He was not stuck with it. He wanted that. Plus, we find out that's apparently where all the gold and diamonds and jewels and rich things are. So Hades actually becomes the richest of all the Olympians because he's underground where all the money was. And so anytime they wanted to make things using gold and jewels, it had to go through him. Chanel.
Does that, I forget what the lake.
Styx?
Yeah, does she talk? Or
No,
does
she did
just-
before she became a river. Once she became a river,
Like the river, I was thinking
yeah,
of the river.
I've not heard stories where that happens, but solid question. I mean, probably lots of like ghostly ooze because of the dead things, but
I was a river.
to help you with representation, you can see it. So you can see the different areas. Zeus, he was king of, once again, everything on up. Poseidon, king of everything that's squishy. Hades, everything that's shadowy and dark. So those are your three areas. Zeus then goes up to Mount Olympus. And on Mount Olympus, he then says, this is my new kingdom. I get to take control over all of it. How many thrones on Mount Olympus?
12.
So he says, I'm going to start filling in all of these thrones with all of the people that I care about. The first 6 should be easy. Because who are the first 6 people to get thrones?
His brothers and sisters.
Brothers and sisters. So now's the part where your notebook comes in handy. We have a
They were
homework,
sexist.
but it's going to be an easy homework because I'm going to give you all the answers, much like Blue Sheet. So way back when we did short stories at the beginning of the year, we had to memorize the 7 elements and then stand up and say it to get points. And then we did poetry, where you had to stand up and know the poem to get points. And then we got to Greek mythology, where you had to go through and memorize the 12 gods to get points. This is the part where you're going to memorize the 12 gods to get points. It's not nearly as tough as you think. The columns you're writing down, we're going to write down the 12 gods. I'm going to give you a hand sign for each god to remind you what it is. The idea being is if you forget on a quiz and you say, hey, who is this one? I can give you the hand sign that connects with it. You're like, oh, I know who you're talking about, so I can try to help you. And then to know what they're the god of. If you can memorize them, it's going to get you B points. If you teach it to other kids, it'll also get you B points. Like the things we were just talking. In a moment, this is going to disappear, but before you freak out, it's okay, because it's going to be on the next screen too. The only things you really need to know is the fact that what number it is, and the fact that the title of it, I mean the date technically is over there above Callan's head, so you can see it there also.
Hi, What day is it? No, like Wednesday, Thursday, Friday?
Wednesday.
Wednesday.
Oh, okay.
Ow.
So then, the first god to get a throne on Mount Olympus is going to be
Poseidon.
Zeus.
Zeus. When Zeus goes up there, he's like, I get my choice of thrones. And the other guy's like, come on. He's like, hey, who freed you? And I'm like, okay, fine. So Zeus gets to be the first god to get a throne on Mount Olympus. Just gonna go on the left-hand side. We're over there. For him, the job, I'm gonna do the skip action, I'll come back to that. I'm gonna go over to the what you say part. He is, compared to all the other ones, Zeus is king of all the gods. So you're gonna go Zeus, king of all the gods. Simple as that. The hand signs, in case you forget who goes first, I'll give you hand sign to remind you. For the hand sign with him, I decided to go with, every time I look at his pictures, he's doing pretty much the same hand sign in every picture. The one there, the one there,
The dad?
the one there, kind of. If you turn your hands just the right amount. So he's usually holding up lightning bolt and then pointing to who he wants to smite. So lightning bolt, smiting. Now given, if you wanted to, you could move arm to one side, move arm down, turn head, but that's up to you. So you have arm up and then pointing. Now I will say, be careful with your smiting when you're holding your lightning bolt and doing your pointing, that usually your lightning bolt hand for most of you is going to end up being also your pencil hand. And if you get tempted for smitage, if you release it, as we found out earlier when things go flying across my room, then all of a sudden you lose B points. That'd be awful.
Yeah, that was pretty
Plus,
famous, Broviak, not gonna
someone could get turned into a unicorn, and that'd be awful. Well, Nathan's not that mean. I forget.
lie. No, you.
yeah.
You're that mean, Broviak.
You're on camera, you
Oh, wait. Oh. Oh.
So Zeus,
Paying your parents are
king
gonna
of all gods, points lightning bolt. After Zeus takes his throne, who's our next one to get a throne?
Poseidon.
That was Zeus's choice. But before he's able to give Poseidon a throne, someone interrupts him and says, no.
Hades.
No.
Hera.
Hera. When he tries, like, Poseidon, what throne? Hera goes, and he's like, oh, Poseidon, maybe you should wait a moment. Hera, would you like to choose a throne? She's like, uh-huh, thank you. And so Hera gets to step up, and she gets second throne. I think I just sassy her pretty well.
No, girl. Pretty good.
Now,
Wait a minute.
with her, the three things we talked about Hera being in control of: marriage,
Birth.
childbirth, and
Being Zeus.
Being Zeus's wife.
there you go, being Zeus's wife. Now, the childbirth and marriage are probably the more important ones. The issue is they never show up in stories. Like the stories we're going to get into, that's not going to help you aside from the very beginning part. The main reason she pops up in any of our stories is the fact that she's Mrs. Zeus, or Zeus's wife. So that's going to be the main thing we're going to focus on to help remind you when it comes to quizzes and tests. If you remember the childbirth and marriage, I'm proud of you. It'll help you long term. But for the stories and quizzes, we're going to focus on her being queen of all the gods. It's once again that whole sexism thing. She's like, I'm more than just Mrs. Zeus. And I'm like, well, what else do you do? Nothing.
They have brains, but
For the hand sign on this one, since we're going to focus on being queen of all the gods, you're going to take one hand, make half circle. Take other hand, try to get it in the camera. Make
Oh my
half
gosh.
circle. Bring two half circles together. Rotate it 90 degrees, and then you're going to lift that up, place upon head. This becomes your crown. Now with this one, you can also choose to become pretty princess and make it sparkly. But there's a difference between being I'm a queen and I'm a moose. So we're going to focus more on. Plus, there's a difference between I'm a pretty princess and I'm a sparkly moose. But I'm not one to judge. You pick what works best for you. I'm not going to yell at you if you're like, Hera, queen of all the gods. Queen of Sparkle Moose. I'm so proud of you. Now, if I were a god, I would absolutely love to be god of Sparkle Moose. God of Sparkle Moose. You see me like just running through the woods, my big sparkly horns. Dreams come true. Third god to get his throne now would be.
Poseidon.
This is where Poseidon's like, is it my turn now? And Zeus looks at Hera and he's like, is it his turn? Hera's like, yeah, it's his turn. So Poseidon's like, okay, my turn. And he gets to run up there and grab his throne also. We've pretty much covered what Poseidon's the god of.
Water.
Water.
Pretty much. God of the oceans. If you put water, that's fine. He personally wanted to be more god of oceans because he thought that was more important. But, I mean, he's not around to yell at you. If you're like, God of splishy splashy. He's not going to be like, oh, then like show up in front of you. You want to call him like God of bathtub. That's fine. For hand sign, a couple different ones came through me. And on this one, I have a bunch of different ones kids choose. I'm happy with any of the ones. My thought was if I were to take you and drop you into the middle of his kingdom, the ocean,
You would die.
hopefully that's not first option. My first choice would be hopefully swimming prior to death. So I'm going to do swimming. For others of you, swimming is not your strength, so you might be more of a doggy paddle type person. For others of you who don't doggy paddle well, you're more of a how deep is this water kind of thing. And I have some kids who have some kind of coordination-y thing, and they can do like the army. If you can do, yeah, some of you guys have more handoffs. I'm going to end up hurting some.
Call it
So,
a finger worm.
whatever, I am not going to call it a finger worm, but you're more than welcome to whatever works for you. So I'm going to do swimmer. For others of you, if you're more of a drowner, or more of a doggy paddler,
Yeah, that's me.
or more of a
Finger worm.
arm wave,
Finger.
works for me too.
Yes, it is.
How about you can do like your finger?
Oh my
That
god.
just looks weird too.
No, it's supposed to
Wait, really?
That would work also. So then, after Poseidon, our next one to get a throne is.
Hades.
Now, before you write Hades down, Hades is the next one to get a throne, but he does not keep a throne. Because as soon as Hades gets a throne and he like settles down, he's like, oh, it's that big, nice, comfy throne. Zeus begins to explain what's required of the Olympians. He says to be an Olympian, you have to be available for the gods to talk to. So we're going to be like sort of like judges. We're going to be able to walk around on Earth.
No.
Hades goes, whoa, whoa, whoa. What was that? He's like, the talking. And Hades goes, no. That can we skip that part? Zeus goes, no, that's kind of a requirement. Hades goes, oh, yeah, you can have that back. And Hades gives up his throne and goes, you know what? I have a throne down in my kingdom, and the best thing about my throne is no one talks to me while I sit on it. So you can take your throne, and I'm going to go take my throne.